Hello and welcome to today's video where I will show you how to build a simple app in Android Studio, of course, the easy way. If you've seen the previous videos, you will surely recognize this app, and today we'll use the same principles and we will build something a bit more complex, but still, when it comes to mobile apps, something pretty simple. So what we try to achieve today is to have this very simple but clean user interface that will have three plain text objects. So these are edit text objects where we can enter some text. This will be a first name, a last name, and an email address. And after pressing the registration button, this information will be processed and for now just displayed in these three text views, but in the future we can do something more complex and we can use this information to actually log the user in some account. But for now, we will have these 7 objects on the screen and there will be an action performed when this button will be pressed. So let's see how we can do all of this. You will start by opening Android Studio. Then you select a new project. Make sure you have phone and tablet selected and then move to empty activity. You click next. You choose a name, package name, save location, programming language, make sure you have Java selected and minimum SDK. Press finish and you wait for your project to load. Once the project has finished loading, the next step is to start and build the user interface of the app. And for this, you go to activity main XML. This will be the file that houses the user interface, and this is where you edit the user interface. But for us to have a bit more space available on the screen, we can eliminate some of the information. For example, this project view, we don't need this project view at this time. So I will just click here where it says project and it will disappear. And apparently the screen is displayed in a zoom mode. I can just zoom back and you can see it. I have both the design and the blueprint displayed at the same time. So I will just leave it in blueprint. You can see the constraints over here. I will remove all the constraints. There is this button over here with these 2 dots connected and an X. I click on this and I confirm the fact that I want to remove or to delete all constraints. So right now, whatever objects are placed on the screen, they will lose all the constraints. The next step, I want to set up a margin, a default margin around the screen. So I will go for a 24 dp. And I need to drag and drop all the objects that will be used in the app. So I'll start with the text objects. I go under text. I have plain text. We will use this to enter the name, the last name, and the email address of the user. So I will drag and drop 3 of these items or objects. I also need 3 text views. I already have one. This is the Hello World text view. And I'll just drag 2 more. Don't worry about placing them in a certain location on the screen because in a little while we will define the constraints and we will align them. So I have the text objects. I'll go to buttons. I will select just a plain button and I will drag it on the screen. Here we are. It's now placed. As I mentioned, at this time we have to indicate the constraints, and for this you just click on the object and you have these bubbles on the sides. You click and you drag the arrow and you leave it first to the left, then to the right, and then on top. So this item has some constraints already defined. We need to do the same for the other items. For the last object, I will just make sure to set up a constraint from the lower part of the object to the lower part of the screen. Now you can see that the objects are placed on the screens. I have the constraints. However, the distance is not equally distributed on this vertical axis. So what I will do, I'll just select all of the objects and I will right click, go to chain and create vertical chain. And this will distribute the distance equally. And I have just a simple user interface created at this time. There will be later on a different video explaining how to create more complex user interfaces and to alternate with multiple types of layouts. But for now, this will do. This is just a simple app with just a simple placement of objects. The next phase is to customize a little bit these objects, and I will start with the first plain text. So this will be used to read the first name of the user. So what we have to do, we just go here on the right side where it says attributes, and we change the ID, and we'll just say edit text. This will be first name. I'm notified that the name will be changed in the entire project, and this is very good. Then what we have to do, for example, it says, if you see over here, it says name, and this is the content right now. However, we don't want any content. We want to delete the text name, and we want to enter a hint. So I will search for the hint attribute. And for the hint, I will just say enter first name. I also want to change the size of the text. So I will search for size, and then I will change it to 24. You can change it to whatever you want. I believe 24 should be large enough. And I also want to make sure that the text is aligned in the center of this view. So I type text and I find here the text alignment attribute, and I will click center. So at this time, I have an ID for this object. I have a hint. I have the text aligned in the center and having the size that I want. We need to repeat these steps for the next two. For the button, we have to give it an ID, and we'll just give it registration BTN. This will be registration button. The text will be, okay, we have to refactor, of course. We have to give it a text. We'll say registration. We also need to give it a text size. We'll give it the same 24. And we'll have to give it on click. Okay, so on click over here, we'll give it a name, and this name will be on click registration BTN. This will be the name of the method that will be executed when we click this button, and we will define this method a bit later. Moving to, let me show you over here, this text view. We select one of them. We'll give it a new ID, which will be text view first name. And as you can see, I try to always give the variables a name which signifies something. For example, this will be the text view first name, this will be text view second name, and the last one will be the text view email. So if anybody needs to debug my application or to modify something, or if myself, I need to change later on this app, it will be easier for me to know which variable does what exactly. So it's going to be easier to understand the logic. So try to avoid giving variable names like text view 1 and 2 and 3, because in 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks, you will not know which one is first, which one was second. So after you give the name, we need obviously to modify the text size. And for this, we look for the attribute size. And we say 24. And we don't need this, this text, the hello world. We just go here where it says text hello world, and we will delete this. And let's give it first name. This will be first name. And this will change the moment we click registration. This will change to whatever text is entered in the corresponding plain text object. We will repeat the steps for the following 2 text views. So here we are. This is the user interface created. You have the fields for entering the information, entering the name and the email address. You have the registration button, and then you have the text views where we will display all this information. Okay, now let's move to the activity main file. And here in the activity main file, what we have to do is to define that method that will be executed when we click on the button. And let me just double check the name of that method. This was the onClick registration button. So I will just copy this. And I will say public void, and I will just put this name. I will say view. Now this being a view class object, we need to import this class, and we will do it right now. Import class, and here you see the class imported. Next thing to do is we have to reference the text views and edit text and the button. So we'll do it like this. We say text view, and this will be an Android widget. And if we double click, the corresponding class will be automatically added. We'll give it a name. Let's say first name. This will be referred using the find view by ID. And here we say resource ID, and we select from the list where we have, this will be text view first name. Here we are. We do the same for the other 2. I'll just copy and paste it to make it faster. Okay, these are the text views being referenced. We need to also reference the edit text. For this, we say edit text. And again, we need to add the Android widget. And it is added. And we'll say edit first name. We'll find it again by ID. Edit text first name. Here we are. The next thing to do is to take the text from each edit text and update it in the text view, in the corresponding text view. We say first name, so this is a text view, dot set text, and this text that we set will be, this will be first name, 2 points, and then we'll use the plus operator to concatenate, and we'll say from edit first name, we'll get the text, and then we will convert it to string. We need to repeat this for the other two text views. The code is now completed, and we have defined everything that will happen when the button is clicked. What we have to do now is just to try to see how everything works in the simulator. And for this, I will go here in the upper part of the screen, and I will select one of my virtual devices. I usually go for the Pixel, this API24 device. And I will just click Run App, and it will take a while, but I will show you, I'll just skip to that part and show you how the app runs. As we can see, the application has finally loaded, and we can try to see how it works. So it says first, enter first name. We'll say Tom, for example. For the last name, we'll say, I don't know, Tony. And the email address will be Tom, let's say .Tony at email.com. So when we press the registration button, all this information should be passed over here. So as you see, we have the first name Tom, the last name Tony, and the email address, that one. Now, using these steps, you can build an application that will open some account or save it in some database or whatever. But this is just the first step, so you can see how to start and build an app and the user interface, and how to take some input data and do something with it. Thank you for joining today's video, and if you have any suggestions or comments, please write below, and I will do my best to reply as soon as possible. Until we meet in the next video, until we learn new things, keep practicing, and see you next time.